Welcome to the College Basketball Net Profit Show, Wednesday, March 15th. I'm Ian Cameron. Connor Mack was here, but he will be back with us momentarily, ready to break down this, I shouldn't say Wednesday card. Yes, we will break down all the Wednesday games, NIT tournament, the first four in the NCAA tournament, but we'll also look ahead to tomorrow. We're going to give you previews of all the Thursday afternoon games in the NCAA tournament in the first round tomorrow. All right, so we've got 8 games lined up. They're all the afternoon games for tomorrow, and we will break those down as well here on this show today. So looking forward to talking about those games as well. But let's begin in the NIT. We're going to do rapid fire through the NIT so that we have more time on the NCAA tournament games. Let's do the first 4 of the 8 NIT tournament games. Youngstown State, Oklahoma State, Alcorn State, North Texas, Santa Clara taking on Sam Houston State, and Cal Irvine versus Oregon. Those 4 games. Youngstown, Oklahoma State, I'm on Youngstown in the over in that game. +6 on Youngstown. Over 150.5 is what I got with the total for that game, but it's gone up to 152. Because I like Youngstown, I think they're going to be able to dictate pace. You know, I could see this being played more at their level, their pace in this game against Oklahoma State. And keep in mind, Oklahoma State was cashing a few more overs down the stretch. So I am on both Youngstown and over in that game against Oklahoma State. I'm passing on Alcorn, North Texas. It probably is a low-scoring game. I would lean under, but 125 is a pretty low total. Santa Clara, I think they're better than Sam Houston State. I certainly lean to the -4, -5 with Santa Clara, but it's getting up there. I do lean Santa Clara in that game. Did bet it small, but nothing significant. And I like Cal Irvine, the Anteaters, plus the points against Oregon. Hell, they already beat Oregon earlier this season. They played earlier back in December, and Irvine had their way with Oregon. I don't buy into the revenge motive. Like, it's an NIT tournament. You know, is Oregon going to be that fired up for revenge? I'm not so sure. And they showed in the first meeting they had some matchup problems with Cal Irvine. So I'm on the Anteaters there. Cal Irvine +7.5. Conor is back with us. CMAC, the first 4 games here, NIT. Youngstown, Oklahoma State, Alcorn, North Texas, Santa Clara, Sam Houston, and Irvine and Oregon. What are you eyeing in those 4 games?
I'm off a lot of these games here. I think Oklahoma State wins. They're just, I don't know how much Youngstown State can do against their defense, but if they're hitting shots, they could be in it. It's just they're so horrible defensively. I mean, this is different. They are getting 5.5, and Oklahoma State's team, not even against Youngstown where I want to lay it. It's come down. There's even 5s out there. I mean, maybe lean that way. The totals keeps moving up. You talk about these totals. Let's move 3 points. Alcorn, North Texas, this could still stay under. Alcorn, I mean, if North Texas is on, they could score 40 points. Like, legit, the whole game there. Yeah, the whole thing. Santa Clara's got this game at home with everything with Sam Houston, but I don't want to lay 4.5. Sam Houston is a little bit gritty. They shoot the 3 decent. I think Santa Clara is a little bit better. I'm with you with Irvine. I thought the number came out way too much, and then look, it's dropped. There's a few 7.5s, but 7s out there. And Irvine wasn't the best defensively all year. They kind of went more to the over. Oregon's not crazy fast. This total might be a little bit too high at 146. I want to take a look at the under a little bit more in that game.
All right, looking at the under maybe with that total being a bit high. All right, let's do the last 4 for the NIT slate tonight. Battle of Florida, UCF, Knights, Florida Gators, Virginia Tech, Cincy, Utah Valley, New Mexico, and Morehead State, Clemson. I agree with the move on UCF, but it's down to 2.5 again. I mean, I just think, you've lost some value, but I think it's going to be a close game. I actually think UCF's got the chance to win outright. They'll be fired up to play the Florida Gators. I mean, the SEC school, and it's a decent UCF team. So I know why they're betting UCF. I kind of agree with the move there. The total, I think, could go over as well. I bet a lot of UCF overs in the AAC. Let's see how that translates now to the Florida Gators, who at times weren't the greatest offensive team throughout the course of the season, but I do lean to that over. I'm on the over in Virginia Tech Cincinnati. It's gone up from 150.5 to 154, and I like the Virginia Tech side plus 5.5. If they can get their shit right, they're a team that could make a little bit of a run here. I like the idea of catching points with them for a team that can shoot the ball pretty well. So I like the Hokies there plus 5.5. I'm on the over as well with Utah Valley, New Mexico, but man, it's getting high. We're talking 164, but it feels like the Toledo game last night where, yeah, it's in the low 160s and it still goes over. I think that's what you're going to see here with Utah Valley and New Mexico. And I do have a small piece of Morehead State plus 16. I'll dare Clemson to cover by this kind of margin because I don't trust him. What do you think of those four, Connor?
Yeah, really, Cincy, just caught, what was it, Houston. You got to think they have a better offensive game. They're at home. But, I mean, this has moved 4 points. It still might get there because at the end, Virginia Tech didn't play any defense down the stretch. It was just not there. But that 5.5 might be in handy. I don't want to lay 5.5 full game with Cincy at all. I like Utah Valley in that one. The heartbreaking loss. I think they have a little bit better defense. They do have the better defense. They have the size. I'd take the points with them. I know it's at the pit there in New Mexico, but I think they're a little pissed off there. I think you grab the points. I don't want the points with Morehead, and I really don't want to lay with Clemson either. And yeah, one of my favorite looks, I love the 4.5 with UCF. Obviously that's gone. We do the show later. It's 2.5 now. Yeah, both teams to the over. Florida was that great under team, kind of Castleton, even before he got hurt. But once he's been hurt, they've been just an over team as well. But as it's gone, this has moved 5 points to, I'm not going to touch the total. Even 2.5, I'd lean UCF.
Yeah, I would honestly still take them because I think they could win that game definitely outright there against the Florida Gators. All right, now we move on to the good stuff. The NCAA tournament. First four matchup here with these two games tonight. We'll start with Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson. Texas Southern 2.5 3-point favorites, 147 the total. I probably, if I had to bet this game, I would take Texas Southern, but I'd probably take a money line, and I'll probably put a couple bucks on it, just recreational bet with this game taking place. I was just going to say, I thought Mexico hit a home run against Canada. They did not. So it was a foul ball by inches. So anyway, we can carry on. Texas Southern, I think they get the job done here against Fairleigh Dickinson. We're looking at minus 145 or so with the money line. It's just a small bet just to have some fun with this first game. But I like the idea of they played at the first four last year. They won in the first four last year in Dayton. They got the experience of being there. I think Texas Southern played their best basketball down the stretch. The run they made in their conference tournament was very impressive in the SWAC. And I think you could see something similar here, propel them basically into a success here in this game tonight against Fairleigh Dickinson, who, by the way, aren't even the best team in their conference. They are in this situation in the tournament because Merrimack was ineligible for the NCAA tournament. That's why Fairleigh Dickinson's here representing that conference, the NEC. So I have issues with them. They don't have much size. They're not particularly good defensively. I think Texas Southern would be the side for me. Again, I don't love the number or the price, but I do have a small play on the money line here with TSU. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, they don't have a ton of size, and I thought they played a little bit over their head all year, did Fairleigh. But watching them, and even that Merrimack game, there was nothing to it, Merrimack, but they kind of crumbled down the stretch, did Fairleigh. I think they're athletic. Southern, just, injuries, did not have a good year, right, got hot at the end. They're just slow. I wonder about this total. I'm not going to mess with it because Fairleigh, with a total higher than this, went under, kind of all over the place. Southern's so slow. They're not great offensively. That's the lone thing here. But Fairleigh isn't a great defense. They're not great. I mean, 28% from three. Man, these are some ugly numbers. 65% from the free throw line. I just think Verley could shoot their way in this, like or keep in this game. I'm not going crazy on it either. I might throw something on it too if I get a 3 here with Fairleigh Dickinson. A lot of love for Texas Southern though.
Yeah, the pace is an over pace, but man, they're erratic as fuck, both teams offensively.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You could get pace. And by the way, both games did stay under yesterday in the first 4, and that has typically been more unders than overs in the first 4 in Dayton in the last few years. That being said, I kind of like the over in the next game that we're going to talk about, Arizona State. And I think if one game is going to go over the total in the first 4, it's this next game, Arizona State, Nevada. We've got Arizona State 2.5-point favorites. The total's only it was 134 when I bet this over. It's up to 135, 136 now. But I think this is the game that if anything is going to go over in this venue, it's this game right here between Nevada and Arizona State. I trust both teams a little more offensively. Cambridge brothers are good players for Arizona State. I'm not sure Nevada has a defensive stopper for them. On the flip side, Nevada is more of a team that I think can shoot the ball. And defensively, I've not been overly impressed with what I've seen out of Nevada. And I think when they play some better teams on their schedule, they're capable of getting ripped apart at the defensive end of the court. So I think when you look at this matchup, we're not asking for a boatload of points, right? The total is 134, 135. That's the range we're dealing with. I think we can get enough to get up and over that number. Nothing on the side. I don't want either side. I'm not laying it with ASU. I'm not taking Nevada. Too erratic both sides. I'm on the over. Just thinking we could get enough points to get over a modest number there. What do you think here, Conor, the other first 4 game, Arizona State, Nevada?
Yeah, I'm not going to touch the total in this one at all. I don't want the side really either. With Nevada, I don't trust either team. The whole Mountain West is horrible. I know it's a playing game. We'll get to those. The other teams, I don't know what they are. They won 1 game the last 3 or 4 years, something like that. They lost the last 3. We mentioned the San Jose State game. They lost that in OT. They lost a couple before that at Wyoming, UNLV in overtime. I don't trust Arizona State. I want nothing to do with this game. And Nevada, I don't think should be in this spot. Who did they beat? On their resume. No offense to them. There's just a few other teams I think that should be in this playing game, but they're in it. Yeah, I'm off. Can't take either, Babana.
Well, I'm totally with you. I'm 100% with you. Neither of these teams have great resumes to be in the tournament, but here they are. Someone's going to end up advancing here to the first round, and we'll see who it is. That's why I'm staying off it. Like I say, I'm not enamored with either team being in this position. I don't trust either team. So, like I said, just a little play on the over for me. Like I said, I think it finds its way to go over the total here. All right. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to dive into the first 8 NCAA tournament games on Thursday, tomorrow, in the first round. The games that'll start before we get on the air at 5 p.m. tomorrow with tomorrow's Net Profit Show. We'll do the Thursday night games and the Friday afternoon games on tomorrow's show. But here today, we'll do the Thursday afternoon games, and we'll begin in Orlando, Florida, the Amway Center. We have Charleston and San Diego State. It is San Diego State 5-point favorites. The total here, 142 in this game. What a fascinating matchup this is on paper, because you've got obviously the San Diego State Aztecs, always a sturdy, steady, sound defensive basketball team. And then you've got this up and down, frantic pace of Charleston, an electrifying offensive team. They can light up the scoreboard. They can hang 80 points on you at any given moment. It's just a really, really interesting, tantalizing matchup, this clash of styles. Pat Kelsey's a great coach. He always seems to have his teams in the NCAA tournament some way, somehow. And now they got to try to go up against San Diego State. The one thing that they're very good at, is they're very good at clogging up the paint. They don't make it easy to attack the interior. Will that be something that Charleston will be able to exploit here in this game? They shoot, obviously, a lot of threes. That's going to be interesting to see if they will fall here against this San Diego State Aztecs team. The perimeter defense, actually, to be honest, if there's one area where San Diego State might be somewhat more compromised, it's going to be along the perimeter with that D, but it's still pretty solid. So it's a really fascinating matchup here between these two teams. We know Mensah and Bradley, outstanding players for the Aztecs. This is a really tough one. I honestly would be lying if I said I had a strong opinion on this game, because there's definitely a pathway, I think, to the Aztecs winning and maybe even covering this number because they're only laying 5. But Charleston, don't sleep on them being able to make shots. If they hit some of those threes for a team that takes a lot and can make a lot, that's always a dangerous recipe at NCAA tournament time. So this one's a tough one. I'm passing all around. I can't even give you an honest lean. That's how tough this game is for me. Same thing with the total. If you like the Aztecs, it probably stays under. If you like Charleston, you have to like the over. It's the way I would go about it, a correlated side in total. What do you think here, CMAC, C of C, and SDSU?
Yeah, definitely. If San Diego State controls it go under, and that's where I'd lean. We saw a couple games, even the finale with Charleston, a lower scoring game. I think it was 380, 80 something, or 58, sorry. But they're up and down. I think San Diego State can take control here and beat them. It's just, there's a lot of times in the tournament, unless I feel really, really good about laying points like this, I just would stay off because I think taking points in a lot of these matchups, this is the classic, 5-12. Come on, 5, San Diego State here. It seems just so easy, right? Yeah, I don't want really anything to do with this either. I'm going to look at it a little bit deeper tonight, but yeah. I'm off.
All right, we move. All right, Furman and Virginia. Next up here, we've got Virginia 6-point favorites, 132 the total in this game. I'm going to be on Furman here, and it's not me being anti-Virginia. It's just I don't always trust Virginia to score enough to be successful laying points, neutral court setting. We remember, too, let's not forget, while they did have the national title year, they also did get picked off early in the first round as well in the past. And I like what Furman can bring to the table in terms of this kid, this guy that plays. If you don't know Furman and haven't watched Furman a lot this year, this is a good team. And this guy that plays for them, their point guard, is Mike Bothwell. What a phenomenal player he is. He's absolutely terrific, runs the point well, makes good decisions, facilitates, can make any shot on the basketball court if you give him an inch of daylight. This is what you want. You want a steady hand. If the dog is going to upset in this kind of a setting, you want the steady hand at the point guard spot, and you've absolutely got that, I think, with Furman. A steady ball handler. I don't think, and the thing with Furman is they don't play up and down frantically. They can execute half-court offense. They're an underrated half-court offense team. That bodes well for them here. Virginia's going to force you to execute in the half court. They're going to force you to be disciplined, be patient, work the shot clock. And Furman has shown the ability to have discipline and maintain that patience running their offense, even if, they have to work the ball around and look for the best shot possible. So I don't think they're going to get flummoxed by what Virginia is going to do to them here in this game. So I think taking 6 is a good number. I don't think Virginia is going to find it easy to pull away and gain margin at any point because I just don't think they have enough consistent offensive forces. Kie Clark's offense is in and out. Beekman, same thing. Beekman's a good defender, but his offense kind of in and out. But I think there's pathways for Furman to be competitive here in this game, and I'm going to take them +6. Conor, what do you think here? Great matchup. Excellent game on paper. Furman, Virginia.
Yeah, they did get blown out by NC State. I like to go check that. I think they played Penn State to a close game early on in the year, but that was way back in November. Yep. They lost by 5 there on a neutral floor. To me, this is like Virginia just clamps them. I think they win by 20, or this game is tight. It just Furman's deep defensively. I think they're just so soft there. If we can get that in Virginia, not the best shooting team, super slow, like you mentioned. Early game, they could hang around. But right now, I'm off. I want to take Furman. I thought this was going to be 8.5. Man, I was thinking, I didn't think this would come out 6. So, now 5.5.
We're living in a new world, Conor Mac. These
are
underdogs and these mid-major teams, they're not getting the 10, 12, 14, 15 points as underdogs like they did 10, 15 years ago. Yeah.
No. Shit.
No, it's just, and that's the way it is also. Yeah, and you're right. The kid that transferred from Ohio, Vanderplas, no doubt, that is a big absence. And it's definitely looking like, as Clark says in the chat, that he's not going to play here for Virginia, and that would be something that would be a big blow for the Cavaliers. And even if they do survive Furman, will he play Saturday if they advance? That's going to be a question as well. All right, let's go to. I'm going to be brief on this one. I'm really not going to get involved in it too much. A&M Corpus Christi, Alabama. It's the 116 matchup here, and it's in Birmingham, so it's basically a home game for the Crimson Tide. They're laying 24, 155.5 the total. I mean, they have the potential to absolutely roll in this game, but I'm just in the I'm not in the business at tournament time of laying 24 or more points with anybody. That's just too many points. It's either I take the dog or passing, but I'm not going to take this dog because they just played Tuesday. They got to turn around quickly, 1 day of prep and travel to Birmingham after being in Dayton last night. That's tough turnaround for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They're already undermanned going against this Alabama team. So there's a potential this gets away from Corpus Christi, but I'm not going to lay that many points. Conor, what do you think?
Yeah, me either. But I think it could be tired. I look at Bama early first half. I think they can take care of business. And maybe look at their team total if you're interested in this one. Yeah, I didn't have a ton either. I think Bama rolls.
All right, West Virginia, Maryland. West Virginia, 2.5 point favorites, 137.5 the total. This is a first round game in Birmingham as well. This is actually the very first game to tip off tomorrow, 12:15 p.m. Eastern, 9:15 a.m. Pacific. This is the very first game of the day tomorrow, West Virginia and Maryland. I'll be honest, I have more faith in West Virginia than I do Maryland, but laying 2.5 now, I mean, that's the problem. I mean, I don't want Maryland away from College Park. Okay, this team has been horrible. I can't say it enough. Horrible all season long away from home. The road record for Maryland has been atrocious. I mean, they've had a couple of games here and there where they've been decent on the road, but that bothers me. I think West Virginia, a lot falls on Trey Mitchell. How's he going to shoot here? Can he get things going for West Virginia? They've got certainly some pieces to step up offensively. They can be erratic. But to me, Maryland just hasn't been good enough away from home. Keep in mind, Kevin Willard has not been exactly a picture of success in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. He had some good Seton Hall teams when he was the coach there, Kevin Willard. And what did he do with them in the NCAA tournament? Not much. He has not been a coach that's been able to step it up at this time of year in the NCAA tournament. Huggy Bear at least has shown the ability in the past to take his team and win a few games in the NCAA tournament. So that coaching struggle of Willard and in the tournament does concern me as well. So, but I don't love the number. Okay, this is a game I'm either passing or I'm going to go very small on West Virginia. Nothing more than that. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I like the under here. A little bit early start game.
Early start. Obviously,
yep. Tomorrow morning. They were just a little bit of a different team when you go back to December. They were decent on neutral. They beat Miami, St. Louis. They lost by 3 to Tennessee, but that was a long time ago in November, December. And that's when they came out red hot. Maryland, kind of hit a lull. What were they, 11-1 or 12-1, something like that before conference play. I think they have the better defense. You mentioned, though, I'd rather have Huggy Bear, the coaching edge, a little bit with West Virginia. I thought they played better down the stretch. Tough for me. I don't want to lay 2.5 with West Virginia. I was thinking maybe look them early, but I don't have a bet. I'm looking at the under, and right now, if I could get 3 or more, I'll take Maryland, a team that I don't love too, away from College Park. But I think this game could be close.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, I like West Virginia. I was thinking I was going to maybe be on West Virginia, and I'll probably bet them small on the money line. But man, I was open for pick 'em. But I think they're rightful favorites. I think they're slightly better than Maryland, and Maryland's track record away from their home court has been terrible this year. So I think they're rightful favorites here. I was hoping they wouldn't be, but they are. All right, next up we've got Howard and Kansas in this next matchup. This is the 116 matchup in the West region, I believe. Kansas 22-point favorites, 146 the total in this game. I like the over here. I think this is an opportunity for Kansas to lay a big number on the board. Howard, I think defensively is just going to be totally overwhelmed by Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick and company. I mean, there's just McCullough. There's just a lot to work with here for Howard. They're going to get absolutely crushed on the glass probably as well. It's just a tough matchup here for Howard. Not to mention the reason why I like the over too is Howard's going to play fast. Howard is a very, very fast-paced tempo team, and they're not going to deviate from that just because they're playing Kansas. They're going to stick to the script. They're going to stick to the style the way they've played all year. So this is going to be a lot of opportunities here for Kansas to put up a big number. And I think, even if they have a big lead, Kansas, because Bill Self, they've had so much emotion. He is going to be on the sideline. Bill Self is coaching Kansas here for this tournament. He'll be back on the sideline after his medical scare last week. But, I think because of that, you could see actually Kansas pile it on late if need be. And the thing is, Howard's going to keep pushing pace, even if they're down by like 30 in this game. So I think for me, the over's the safe play. You could lay the points with Kansas too, but again, you're talking about 22 points. It's a big number, and Howard still has that offensive backdoor potential, even if they're down by 25, 26. So I feel that the over is the safer bet here in this one, 145, 146. What do you think here, C-Mac? Howard, Kansas.
Yeah. Do you think, Howard could get maybe in the mid 60s is what I don't know. It's Kansas
I think
defense.
Kansas is getting 90. So all I need from Howard is probably 60, and it'll go.
Yeah,
over
that's right around there. That's what I was thinking. Kansas team total, I wish it was maybe a couple points lower, but even 84.5, I think they should get there. Not tons, but even in conference, they 87 Baylor, 87 Oklahoma State, some of these games. I kind of looked at the team total. It's just Kansas wins. Do you want to lay it here?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I think, like I say, Kansas did play, better offensive basketball, in some of their Big 12 games down the stretch. And I want to point out something about this Howard squad. You see some of their results early in the season. We saw them give up 96 to Belmont, 86 to Yale, 85 to George Washington, 95 to Kentucky in their very first game of the season. Those are the points Howard was giving up. That's why I think Kansas gets 90. I mean, see some of the points they gave up Howard early in the season. George Washington's putting 95 on them. What do you think Kansas could do? Yeah,
I keep saying it now. Team total, Kansas.
Howard
though could shoot the three if they could, if they could maybe hit some like you're set. If they could get in those mid 60 range right there, that would get it, be over.
Yeah, definitely. I like the full game over. Definitely the Kansas team total. If you want to isolate that, I wouldn't talk anyone out of that. But I think Howard can do enough as well, and Kansas will do the bulk of the scoring to go over 146 in this game. All right, next up, we've got Illinois and Arkansas, 8-9 matchup. Arkansas 2-point favorites, 144 the total. I got to be on the Pig Suey here, if anything, Arkansas. I just think there's more upside for them. Eric Musselman's a proven winner in the NCAA tournament. How many times now has he led Arkansas beyond the first week of the NCAA? He's done it multiple times. I don't have that same confidence about Illinois. This team just hasn't been, completely together from the beginning this year. They've been too inconsistent. One game they can't shoot straight. One game the defense doesn't stop anything. It's just been not consistent enough for Illinois. I think we're finding out they missed some of the guys that are no longer there from last year's team, Coburn and Corbello, and there's others missing from that great. Trent Frazier, don't underestimate what a big impact he was on Illinois the last few years. They just don't have that same team chemistry, and they don't have that same overall roster talent, in my opinion, this year. Been way too erratic. Arkansas for me, if I'm betting this game. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I liked Arkansas here too. But both teams, when I was going through it, really limped in here. And both teams don't shoot great. These are teams that just say Illinois, I faded down the stretch. Horrible free throw shooting team. This could be close. I lean Arkansas. I think, to me, it's them or nothing. I'm staying away. And I've been a fade of, we talk teams like Tennessee who probably could get out the first round, but Illinois in the NCAA tournament, I don't want, period.
And that's a great point in the chat. Big Ten teams absolutely sucked ass last year in the NCAA tournament. We remember that, how bad the Big Ten was. Now, you can't say it's going to be duplicate. You can't just automatically say it's going to be the same this year, but I think it's potential the Big Ten struggles again, because I think we can agree top to bottom, the Big Ten wasn't as good as the SEC. It wasn't as good as the Big 12. It wasn't as good as a lot of these other power conferences this year, top to bottom. So I think there's a case to be made that the Big Ten is going to have their share of struggles again this year in the NCAA tournament. But this is not me saying Big Ten stinks. I'm betting against Illinois. This is, to me, Arkansas's better. Musselman has taken Arkansas to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. How many times? I think he's gotten to the second weekend, Connor, every year he's been at Arkansas. they've gotten
Yeah.
a couple of wins at least in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, because that's where I'd be or nothing. And they're just two teams not winning games towards the end of the year or covering numbers. You know, it's
Yep.
like, yeah, ugly.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got 2 games left. Next up, these 2 games that we're going to wrap up with are at the Sacramento Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. Utah State, Missouri. We've got Utah State 1.5 point favorites here, 155.5 the total in this game. This total, by the way, I want to mention something with the total. This total was at one point 150, as high as 156. Got bet down a little bit to 154, and now it's on the way back up again. And I agree with it going back up again. This is definitely, get your track shoes on. Utah State's going to play ultra fast. Missouri under Dennis Gates, behind Gates, heaven or hell. Under Dennis Gates, they play fast. These are 2 teams I trust more at the offensive end than the defensive end. Utah State, like I say, they've got a phenomenal offensive team. They've shown it all season long. With Taylor Funk, with obviously Stephen Ashworth, Sean Bairstow leading the way for them. Very, very good ball movement. They play with pace. We know Missouri can shoot and can score the basketball. Both of these teams, when you look at their offense, Utah State 28th in points per game, 16th in field goal percentage, 4th in three-point percentage. Missouri's terrible defending the three-point line, and Utah State's 4th in the country shooting the 3-ball percentage-wise. But conversely, Missouri's a very good offensive team, 32nd field goal percentage, 72nd in the country three-point percentage. But Utah State's 294th at defending the 3. So I think the offensive matchup works both ways for success for both of these teams. And I think this game goes over the total. And you know what I love about the over too, Conor Mack? Finally, we have 2 teams we can count on for free throw shooting to be solid. Missouri, 75.6% free throws, 43rd in the country. Utah State, 77% from the line free throws, 21st in the country. So these are 2 of the better, 2 top 50 free throw shooting teams in college basketball. Over, as my colleague would say. What do you think here, Conor?
I think the only way it stays under if they're half asleep here in this game.
Or they have just maybe their worst shooting game of the season, these 2 teams. Both in the same day, they both shoot like 31%. That's how it stays under. I don't see it.
Yeah, because they're not good defensively. Like, this is San Diego State. They're really good defensively. That's why Utah State only scored 57 in that championship game, and the meeting before. But they're playing Missouri, who has no defense, just 0. Brown can create. They got guys that can score, and I think they will. Will it get there? It's just it.
Here's the caveat to all this, and it all sounds great. The matchup sounds great. The pace is great, but they could shoot bad. And here's the caveat. This is a 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, local time game, because this is in Sacramento, and it's going to be 10:30 a.m. out there. Pretty damn early. Are they asleep? Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like 1:30. Or 2 o'clock on the East Coast, and that's a little early. It's early here out west. You mentioned Sacramento, but it should be fun. This is the offensive matchup. I think it's back and forth. And this is a game, though. I think Missouri, showed sometimes that they could just beat up a team. Had some really good games, and I think they could win here. But this is like the best matchup for Utah State. They're not against like some slow grinding out team that could give them trouble. Because we're talking about how some of these teams in the Mountain West have struggled in this tournament, but this is one maybe they could win. Before that loss, they'd playing really, really well. But good back and forth one, maybe one to bet live. It gets up and you could take a team with some points here. This is one I'll be betting live, of course. All these games, but this is one you have on early. There'll only be a couple games on. So.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the early games on Thursday afternoon. Along with this one, this will be a little bit later. Same building, but it'll be the second afternoon game in this venue in Sacramento. Princeton and Arizona. Wildcats 14.5 point favorites, 154 the total in this one. I think Princeton in the first half might actually be a decent bet here, and here's my reasoning, because I think. First half, Arizona's coming off beating UCLA in the Pac-12 championship late Saturday night. And now they turn around. They've got to get ready here for this tournament game. Maybe catch Arizona, a little flat early. And I could see Princeton style potentially early, frustrating Arizona a bit. Then they figure it out at halftime, and their athleticism just, takes over. The bigs, Ballo and Tubelis, take over. Ramey starts draining threes. Kirk Risa starts facilitating the offense, and then they overwhelm Princeton, which is very, very possible. But I think in the first half, I trust Princeton maybe to throw some stuff at Arizona that might throw them off guard, because they play a funky style of basketball that it's not always easy for teams to prep when they don't see it every day. And plus, again, Arizona coming off the Pac-12 title against UCLA on Saturday night. So I think when you look at it, the first half angle, I think does make sense here on Princeton. So that's what I'm looking at. This is not a game I love, because I think Arizona is clearly going to advance, but Princeton in the first half, I mean, I think I could get there. I could make a case for that. Princeton +8 first half. The reason I like it more than the full game is because I think Princeton could wear down and just get totally overwhelmed by the pace and the athleticism of Arizona, and the size, quite honestly. Because, look, they don't have the size to deal with Ballo and Tubelis inside, and that could wear them down over the course of 40 minutes. But for the first half, yeah, I'll trust the Princeton Tigers a little bit, maybe to hang around for at least 20. What do you think here in this one, C-Mac?
Yeah, because they early that offense work, and I don't blame you for taking it. This 14.5, I thought would be 17.5 or so. I'd feel a lot better. You get 10 or so, 10.5 first half would be a lot better. Arizona, I think, pulls away and wins, and I think the total though sharp. I'd look it over, and the points. We know Princeton over team. Arizona should go up and down on them. Maybe even look at their team total. I'm going to look a little more at the game, but yeah, that's where I'd be here.
All right, good stuff indeed. All right, there you go. That is the Thursday afternoon slate for the NCAA tournament first round. Again, tomorrow on the show, we will we'll be on and we'll talk about Thursday night's games tomorrow on the show at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we'll also talk Friday afternoon on the show tomorrow. So we'll do Thursday night and Friday afternoon NCAA tournament of the Net Profit show tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you join us for that. Hit the like button, 174 live viewers. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And make sure you get in and get involved in the bracket challenge, the March Madness bracket contest at Pub Sports Radio. Check it out, pubsportsradio.com. It's where you go to check it out and sign up, get your bracket in. Always a lot of fun. Again, you got a lot of, it's skill, and it's a lot of luck and good fortune is well involved in these bracket contests, but they're fun. That's all that matters. And again, supports the channel doing so, signing up. So again, March Madness bracket contest, Pub Sports Radio. Check it out. Sign up at pubsportsradio.com. Good stuff indeed. All right. Hit the like button. We'll be back, Conor and I, with best bets to wrap up the show right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, and manscaped.com. 20% off with free shipping as well. Manscaped.com, promo code PUBSPORTS. All right, best bets to wrap it up. It was a good night on the best bet board last night. Let's see if we can duplicate it, give an encore performance tonight. Conor Mack, what are you going? What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, a couple of these games moved that we talked about, but I'm going with the team that was 10-5 on the road, 10-4 against the number. They are at the pit, but I don't trust the defense. Give me Utah Valley here, Utah Valley State +6. That's gone, but there's 5.5. So I think it's enough. I think they hang around tonight with New Mexico.
All right, there it is, Utah Valley plus the points against New Mexico. NIT tournament action, best bet for Conor Mack. My best bet I'm going to give you one for tonight. I'm going to give you one for tomorrow in the first round, the Thursday afternoon slate that we talked about. We're going to go with Arizona State, Nevada, over 135.5 is the best number out there in the first 4 tonight in that game. Again, that's Arizona State, Nevada, over 135.5. And the best bet that I'm going to go with for tomorrow, give me those Arkansas Razorbacks. Pig Suey, as our guy Big Ragu likes to say on the college football show. Arkansas minus 135 money line against Illinois. I've got, I think, the better team. I've got the better conference. I've got a team with a track record of going to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament against a team that I just don't buy into. So Arkansas money line for me against Illinois. That's for tomorrow. NCAA tournament first round. And for tonight, we're going with Arizona State, Nevada in the first 4, over 135.5. So there you go. 2 best bets for the price of none for yours truly here on the College Basketball Net Profit Show. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the College Basketball Net Profit Show. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much.
Come on now.
Yeah, hit that like button. We appreciate it a lot. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll do Thursday night, Friday afternoon, NCAA tournament previews tomorrow on the Thursday edition of the College Basketball Net Profit Show. For Conor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the College Basketball Net Profit Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.
Get it.
Palooza 2 on the horizon. We're going to have live shows popping off in the Southbound 101. We're going to have a poker tournament, a par 3 golf tournament, UFC San Antonio on the Saturday night. A lot of excitement. Palooza 2, baby.